All right, let's dive straight into this explainer. Look, if you're in the restaurant industry, you know exactly how glaring the spotlight is right now when it comes to childhood obesity and how brands market to kids. But how do you actually track something that seems, well, so subjective? Today, we're cracking open the SASB standard, specifically metric FBRN 260A.3, to show you exactly how to bring hard math to your marketing footprint. We're talking about turning those kind of vague advertising concepts into transparent, completely accountable data.
It's a huge challenge, isn't it? I mean, marketing to kids sounds like such a qualitative, almost squishy idea. Like, is it a cartoon mascot on a billboard, a sponsored post by an influencer? Well, today, we're going to translate all of that into quantifiable data. We'll be exploring exactly how to calculate the raw percentage of ad impressions made on children, and crucially, what proportion of those specific ads actually promote products that meet strict dietary guidelines. To make this complex standard super digestible, here is our roadmap for today. First, measuring marketing to kids. Second, defining the key terms. Third, calculating impressions on children. Fourth, promoting healthy dietary options. And finally, data collection methods.
So let's jump right into Section 1, measuring marketing to kids. The SASB standard basically asks restaurant brands to pull back the curtain on two very specific metrics. First up, they want the raw total percentage of all your advertising impressions that actually land on children. And second, they ask, okay, of those specific impressions, how many are actually promoting products that meet strict dietary guidelines? This dual approach is brilliant because it gives us the full, unvarnished picture of a brand's actual marketing footprints.
Moving right along to Section 2, defining the key terms. We need to set the ground rules before doing any math.
Now, according to the standard, an advertising impression isn't just your traditional TV commercial or a glossy magazine ad. The net they cast here is incredibly wide. We're talking internet ads, mobile apps, interactive video games, film tie-ins. Heck, even that licensed cartoon character smiling on a juice box absolutely counts. It's a comprehensive approach, really designed to capture the reality of modern multi-channel marketing.
Next up, who exactly are we measuring? Well, we define children by first looking at local jurisdictional laws. Because major restaurant chains operate globally, your marketing team actually has to adhere to the local legal definition of a child in whatever specific market that ad is running.
But you might be wondering, what happens if a local jurisdiction operates in a gray area and doesn't legally define what a child is for advertising? Well, the SASB standard has a built-in fallback for that. It automatically defaults to age 12 and under. This is a game changer because it ensures that even in totally unregulated markets, brands just can't escape tracking this vital data. Finally, we need to define dietary guidelines. These have to be publicly available national or industry guidelines. And here is the real kicker. They must have actual quantitative thresholds for health attributes. So those vague marketing claims like made with real fruit or kid approved? Yeah, those don't cut it here at all. We are talking strict numerical limits on calories, sodium, sugars, and fats.
Okay, Section 3, calculating impressions on children. Let's get into the actual math.
So how do we actually find the numerator for our first percentage? Well, you take the expected share of children in your audience, whether they're watching, listening, or clicking, at the exact time of your media buy. You multiply that by your total expected impressions. It's a fairly straightforward formula, but make no mistake, it demands really rigorous point-of-purchase audience data to get right. Now, here is an absolutely crucial nuance you cannot miss. You must calculate these impressions even if the advertising is not primarily directed at children. Let's say you buy an ad during a primetime sports broadcast that's clearly meant for adults, right? But the data shows 10% of that audience is historically under 12. Guess what? You must count those impressions. You're measuring the actual footprint here, not just the intent. Moving on to Section 4, promoting healthy dietary options. When we put our two core calculations side by side, a really fascinating story emerges. That first calculation, it just measures your total raw marketing footprint on children. But the second calculation acts almost like a filter. It takes all those impressions made on kids and zeroes in on only the ones promoting products that actually pass those strict dietary guidelines we talked about. So it reveals the exact proportion of your child-facing marketing that's genuinely dedicated to healthier options.
And that brings us to our final section, Section 5, data collection methods.
You might be wondering, how do marketers actually execute this across so many different media types? Well, the standard provides some very specific guidance. For traditional TV and print, you'll generally rely on gross rating points and target ratios. Tracking your own brand's websites, you'll look at average monthly page visits and age-targeted indexing. And for things like third-party mobile apps or video games, you'll combine total impressions viewed with the child audience share metrics provided directly by those platforms.
Remember, this entire standard is built on mandating ultimate transparency. You cannot just publish your final percentages and walk away expecting everyone to clap. You literally have to show your work. You must explicitly disclose exactly which dietary guidelines you used, the precise data collection methods you employed across different media, and the specific legal definitions of children you applied. Honestly, the methodology is just as critical as the final number. By breaking down exactly how a brand communicates with one of our most vulnerable demographics, we're finally moving away from guesswork and into real, accountable business practices. So I'll leave you with this to chew on. Does rigorously measuring all this data simply satisfy a compliance checklist? Or is it actually the ultimate tool for building long-term brand trust with your consumers? Just think about how this level of radical transparency could fundamentally change the next big media buy. Thanks for joining me for this explainer, and definitely keep asking the hard questions about the data behind the brands.